Alright, in this lesson we are going to learn how to multiply polynomials. So we'll start by multiplying a monomial times a polynomial, and then we'll practice multiplying a binomial times a binomial. Alright, when we multiply a monomial times a polynomial, all we are doing is the distributive property. You just have to be careful about your exponents. But we are going to take 5x to the third power times 4x to the fourth power. So just to be clear, I'm just going to do this off to the side. We are doing 5x to the third power times 4x to the fourth power. When we do that, remember we're doing 5 times 4 is 20. So we go ahead and put that down. But x to the third times x to the fourth power is x to the seventh power. Remember, we wind up adding these exponents. So we will have 20 x to the seventh power. Okay, and then we're going to do 5x to the third power times negative 3x. And again, you wouldn't normally write this down. It's just because we're doing it for the first time. So I'm saying we're going to multiply 5x to the third power times negative 3x. Now, negative 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. X to the third power times x is x to the fourth power. Alright, you can think of this as a little 1, but I'd prefer that you think to yourself, well, I have 3 x's and then one more x, that makes 4. And then finally we will do 5x to the third power times 1, which of course anything times 1 is just going to be itself. So this is going to give us 5x to the third power. Okay, so you just do the distributive property, but these are the 3 multiplications that you should be thinking in your mind. But you're not going to write them down. Okay, so that's how you multiply a monomial times a polynomial. In this case, that was a trinomial. Now, when we do a binomial times a binomial, we will have to do the distributive property twice. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with x. And we're going to do the distributive property just like I showed you. So for right now, do not look at the plus 4. I'm just going to cover it up. Alright, pretend like that's not there for right now. Okay, in fact, poof. Okay, so we will do x times x, and that's x squared. And then we'll have x times negative 6, and that will be negative 6x. Okay, now I want you to ignore the x, pretend like that's not there. So now we're going to distribute the, hold on, it's covering up the sign, that's no bueno. Okay, so this is a positive 4, so now it's time to distribute the positive 4. So 4 times x is 4x, positive 4x. I guess I'll just put it on the same level for now. I won't get fancy schmancy. And then 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. Very often there will be like terms that you need to combine before you finish. So these two are like terms. Negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. If you have any trouble with that, as I've said to you before, use a calculator. Negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. So in this case that means negative 2x. So I'm going to bring down my x squared. These two together make negative 2x, and I'll bring down my minus 24. So that will be your answer for number 6. Okay, let's practice some more. Alright, once again, binomial times binomial. we will do a double distributive property. So focus on the x first. Alright, don't pay any attention to this 9 right now. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 9 is negative 9x. Okay? Now we're going to do the 9. Distribute this positive 9. So now do not look at the x. So if we take this 9 and do the distributive property, 9 times x is positive 9x. 9 times negative 9 is negative 81. So just like before, I have some like terms that need to be put together. But these are exact opposites. Negative 9 and positive 9 together make 0. But we're not going to write anything down. They cancel each other out. Okay, negative 9x and positive 9x, they kill each other, they annihilate each other, they wipe each other out. So what we have left is the x squared minus 81. Okay, no x term because it was 0. Alright, number 8. Alright, let's continue to practice. So we will start with the 3x and we will distribute that. So 3x times 2x, 3 times 2 is 6, x times x is x squared. Now we'll have to do 3x times negative 5. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. And then I've got just the x because this one doesn't have any. Alright, next we will ignore the 3x and distribute the 1. 1 times 2x is just positive 2x. 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. Alright, the x terms are like terms once again. So we will bring down our 6x squared, but negative 15 plus 2 is negative 13. So that makes negative 13x. And then we'll just bring down the minus 5. Okay, if you don't understand where the negative 13 is coming from, use a calculator. Negative 15 plus 2. That's negative 13. Okay, let's find number 9. Alright, just 2 more. So here we've got 6x, so let's start by distributing that. Alright, to both terms. So 6x times 4x. 6 times 4 is 24. X times x is x squared. So that makes 24x squared. 6x times negative 1 will just be negative 6x. Alright, now it's time to distribute the negative 3. Include the negative with it. Okay, we'll do negative 3 times that and negative 3 times that. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. So that's going to make negative 12x because of the x. Negative times negative is a positive. So negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Now we will combine these like terms. I will bring down my 24x squared, but negative 6 and negative 12. Alright, this is like having negative 6 plus negative 12. Alright, combining like terms, you can always add. So that's going to be negative 18. So I'm going to write negative 18x. And then bring down your plus 3. So that is your answer for number 9. Last but not least, this one looks a bit strange, but you know what it means to square something. For example, if I have q squared, what does that really mean? Q squared means q times q. So anything squared means that thing times itself. So whatever you do, don't just square these two things on the inside. Don't just square the 2x and square the 5 and think that's the answer. Instead, what you need to do is rewrite this twice. Okay, 2x plus 5 squared means 2x plus 5 times 2x plus 5. So now it looks like all the other problems we've been doing. So we will start with the 2x and we will distribute that. So 2x times 2x. 2 times 2 is 4, but x times x is x squared, so I'll have 4x squared. Now I need to do 2x times 5. Well, 2 times 5 is 10, positive 10. So that'll be 10x because this has an x and this one doesn't. And of course now we will distribute the positive 5 to both of these. 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, and as often is the case, we have like terms here in the middle. So together, these will make positive 20x. And we will bring down the 4x squared and the 25. Okay, and that will be your answer to number 10. And that is how you multiply polynomials together. In a later video, we'll try multiplying binomials times trinomials, and even trinomials times trinomials. But this is plenty for one video.